Scientists call it junk DNA. For decades, they believed that 98% of human DNA does nothing. It just sits there, useless leftovers from evolution. But new research shows they were wrong. That DNA is not junk. It's turned off, deactivated, silent. This means humans once had abilities we don't have now. We lost functions our ancestors possessed. Our DNA contains the instructions for these abilities, but something switched them off. Today, we're going to explore what we lost, why we lost it, and whether we can get it back. Let me start with what DNA actually does. Think of DNA as an instruction manual for building and running a human body. Each gene is a specific instruction. Some genes tell your body how to make proteins. Others control when and where those proteins get made. For years, scientists only paid attention to the genes that make proteins. That's about 2% of your DNA. The other 98% was called junk DNA. Scientists thought it was just evolutionary garbage, random letters that accumulated over millions of years with no purpose. But that never made sense. Why would your body waste energy copying and maintaining all that DNA if it served no function? In the early 2000s, researchers started looking closer at junk DNA. They found something surprising. Most of it is not junk. It's regulatory DNA. It acts like switches that turn genes on and off. It controls how your body develops and functions. But here's what shocked researchers even more. Much of this regulatory DNA is turned off in humans but active in other animals. Let me give you concrete examples of what we lost. Most mammals can synthesize their own vitamin C. Their bodies make it from glucose. Humans can't do this. We have the gene for making vitamin C, but it's broken. A mutation turned it off millions of years ago. Now we have to get vitamin C from food or we get scurvy. Our ancestors could make their own vitamin C. We lost that ability. Many animals can regrow lost body parts. Salamanders regrow entire limbs. Zebrafish regrow damaged hearts. Even mice can regrow the tips of their fingers. Humans can't do this, but we have many of the same genes that control regeneration in these animals. Those genes are just turned off in us. Human babies can regrow their fingertips up to about age 2. After that, the ability shuts off. Something in our DNA says to stop regenerating after early childhood. We have the blueprint for regeneration. We just don't use it anymore. Here's another example. Most mammals have a functioning vomeronasal organ. It detects pheromones, chemical signals from other animals. This organ gives them information about mating readiness, territory, and social status. Humans have a vomeronasal organ too, but it's vestigial. It doesn't work. The genes that would make it function are turned off. This means our ancestors could sense pheromones. They had direct chemical communication with each other. We lost that sense. We still respond to pheromones on some level, but we can't consciously detect them like other mammals can. Many animals have a functioning third eyelid called a nictitating membrane. It protects the eye and keeps it moist. Humans have a tiny remnant of this in the corner of our eye, but it doesn't function. The genes for building a working nictitating membrane are in our DNA. They're just inactive. Some animals can see ultraviolet light. Bees see UV patterns on flowers that guide them to nectar. Birds use UV vision to identify mates and find food. Humans can't see UV light. Our eye lenses filter it out. But some people who have their lenses removed for medical reasons can suddenly see into the UV spectrum. This suggests we have the receptors for UV light in our eyes. They're just blocked. Here's where it gets interesting. Humans have genes for producing thick fur like other primates. These genes are still in our DNA, but they're turned off. We only grow thick hair on our heads and a few other places. The rest of our body produces fine, nearly invisible hair. Something in our evolution switched off the genes for full body fur. Why did we lose our fur? Nobody knows for certain. Some theories say it helped us run long distances without overheating. Others say it reduced parasites. Or maybe it helped with swimming. The point is, we have the genetic code for fur. We just don't express it anymore. Humans used to have much stronger jaw muscles. We have the gene for making a protein called MYH16 that builds powerful jaw muscles. In humans, this gene is broken. It doesn't work. This mutation happened about 2.4 million years ago. When we lost our strong jaw muscles, our skulls could grow larger because powerful jaw muscles no longer constrained them. This allowed our brains to get bigger. So we traded jaw strength for brain power, but it was not a choice. It was a random mutation that turned off the gene. We lost the ability to have both strong jaws and large brains. Most mammals can produce their own omega-3 fatty acids. Humans can't make EPA and DHA, the omega-3s your brain needs. We have to get them from fish or supplements. We have genes related to omega-3 synthesis, but they don't work the same way they do in other animals. We lost the ability to make these essential fats. Some humans have genes that let them see more colors than most people. These people, mostly women, are tetrachromates. They have 4 types of color receptors instead of 3. They can see millions more color variations than the rest of us. This suggests humans might have had better color vision in the past, and most of us lost it. Here's something remarkable. Humans have genes for producing much stronger bones. Some people have mutations that turn these genes on, giving them bones so dense they sink in water. Their bones almost never break. The rest of us have these genes too. They're just not activated. We could have unbreakable bones, but something keeps those genes switched off. Many animals can enter a state called torpor, a kind of hibernation. Their metabolism slows down. They use less energy. They can survive without food for long periods. Humans can't do this normally, but we have genes related to metabolic regulation that are similar to hibernating animals. These genes don't activate the same way in us. Some researchers think humans used to be able to enter torpor states, especially during winter when food was scarce. We lost that ability as we developed agriculture and stable food sources. But the genetic machinery might still be there, dormant. Now let's talk about why we lost these abilities. Evolution works by natural selection. Traits that help survival get passed on. Traits that don't help or that cost too much energy get lost. Many of the abilities we lost probably cost more energy than they provided in benefit. Making vitamin C takes energy. If your diet provides enough vitamin C from food, the body doesn't need to make it. The gene can break without consequences. Over time, a broken gene that saves energy might spread through the population. Regenerating body parts takes enormous energy. If humans could avoid losing limbs by being careful and using tools, regeneration became less important. The genes for regeneration could get turned off without harming survival. But some losses might be accidental. Random mutations turn genes off. If the loss doesn't hurt survival, the mutation spreads. We might have lost abilities not because they were harmful, but because losing them wasn't harmful enough to stop. There's another possibility. Some genes get turned off in a process called methylation. Chemical tags attach to DNA and silence genes without breaking them. This can happen in response to environment or behavior. If our ancestors stopped using certain abilities, those genes might have gotten methylated and silenced over generations. This is called epigenetics. It means your behavior and environment can change which genes are active, and these changes can sometimes pass to your children. If your ancestors lived in ways that didn't require certain abilities, those abilities might have gotten turned off through epigenetics, not just through random mutation. Here's the big question. Can we turn these genes back on? Can we recover lost abilities? Scientists are working on this. They've reactivated dormant genes in lab animals. Researchers turned on genes for regeneration in mice and got them to regrow parts of their organs. They've activated genes that improve healing and extend lifespan. In humans, we're seeing some of this already. Gene therapy can activate or deactivate specific genes, CRISPR technology can edit DNA and potentially turn silent genes back on. We're in the early stages, but the technology exists. Some people already have naturally reactivated genes. People with denser bones, tetrachromatic vision, or unusual healing abilities show that these dormant genes can turn back on through natural mutations. If it happens naturally, it can probably be triggered intentionally. But there are risks. Genes got turned off for reasons. Reactivating them might have unintended effects. Strong jaw muscles might limit brain growth. Thick fur might cause overheating. Regeneration might increase cancer risk because it requires cells to divide rapidly. We need to understand why these genes were silenced before we start turning them back on. Evolution is not random. Most changes that persist do so because they provide some advantage or at least don't cause harm. Reversing millions of years of evolution without understanding the consequences could be dangerous. Still, the potential is remarkable. Imagine turning on genes for regeneration so people could regrow damaged organs or limbs. Imagine activating genes for stronger bones so the elderly don't break hips. Imagine reactivating vitamin C synthesis so humans never get scurvy. Some researchers think we can go further. If we understand which genes control which abilities, we might be able to give humans abilities we never had. We could potentially engineer enhanced vision, stronger immune systems, or resistance to diseases. But we're not there yet. We're still mapping which genes do what. We're still learning how genes interact with each other. Turning on one gene might require turning on 10 others to work properly. The system is more complex than we realized. What does this mean for you right now? It means your DNA contains potential you're not using. You have genetic instructions for abilities that are turned off. Some might turn on naturally through epigenetic changes based on how you live your life. Exercise can activate genes for muscle growth and repair. Fasting can activate genes for cellular cleanup and longevity. Meditation can activate genes that reduce inflammation and stress. Your behavior influences which genes are active. You can't regrow a lost limb through lifestyle choices, but you can influence gene expression in ways that improve health and function. The field of epigenetics shows that genes are not destiny, they're possibility, and which possibilities get expressed depends partly on how you live. We lost 90% of our DNA functions, but that DNA is still there. It's not gone, it's waiting. As we learn more about genetics and develop better tools, we might be able to access abilities our ancestors lost. We might be able to become more than what we currently are. The question is not whether we can do it, but technology is coming. The question is whether we should, and if so, which abilities are worth recovering. Do we want to regrow limbs, make our own vitamin C, see ultraviolet light, have unbreakable bones? These are not science fiction questions anymore. They're practical questions we'll face in the next few decades. Our DNA holds the instructions. We're learning how to read and activate them. What we do with that power will define the next stage of human evolution. You are walking around with a genetic library of dormant abilities. You're not using most of your DNA's potential. None of us are. We're all operating on a fraction of what our genome can do. And as science advances, we're going to have to decide which of these lost abilities we want back and what new abilities we want to gain. The future of humanity is written in the DNA we already have. We just need to learn how to read it and activate it properly. What we lost might not be lost forever. It might just be sleeping, waiting for us to wake it up. If this look at our hidden genetic potential got you thinking about human evolution and what we might become, hit that like button and subscribe. We're exploring the cutting edge where biology meets technology and ancient abilities meet future possibilities. Ring the notification bell because we're covering more discoveries about what humans really are and what we might be capable of. Drop a comment with which lost ability you'd want to recover first. Your DNA is listening.